The year is 1470. In the mountains of Thessaly, a bell rings across a narrow valley for the final time. Its sound rolls down through pine forests, across stone terraces and abandoned footpaths, then fades into a silence that will never be broken again. Inside the convent of St. Catherine, 23 women kneel on cold stone floors, worn smooth by centuries of prayer. Their lips move in unison, forming words spoken every morning of their adult lives. But this morning, the prayers feel heavier, as if each syllable carries the weight of farewell. Outside the walls, the horizon is stained red, not by sunrise, but by banners, red, black, and gold. Fabrics snapping in the wind. The Ottoman army does not advance with chaos or fury. It advances with certainty, like water finding the lowest ground. Kingdoms have already vanished beneath it. Cities have been stripped of their names, their bells silenced, their identities folded neatly into something new. Sister Eleni, the abbess, grips a silver crucifix darkened by generations of hands. It belonged to her predecessor and to the woman before her, and to another whose name is no longer remembered. Her hands tremble, but not from fear. She understands something the younger sisters do not yet fully grasp. Death would be mercy. What is coming will not be written in the chronicles most people read. It will not appear in monuments or school books. It will be buried, fragmented, scattered across archives and silence. But fragments are enough if someone is willing to listen. To understand what happens next, you must understand how the Ottoman Empire conquered more than land. 17 years earlier, in 1453, Constantinople fell. A city that had endured for over 1,000 years collapsed in less than 2 months. Cannon fire shattered walls once believed unbreakable. When the city was taken, crosses were torn down. Bells melted into ammunition. Mosaics plastered over. Within days, the Hagia Sophia, the greatest cathedral of Christendom, was transformed. Sultan Mehmed II did not act out of necessity alone. He acted with precision. He understood that slaughter created martyrs, and martyrs created memory. Memory inspired resistance. Resistance never truly died. If an empire wished to endure, it had to erase identity itself. Across the remnants of the Byzantine world, monasteries and convents remained stubborn symbols of continuity. They rang bells. They spoke Greek and Latin. They remembered emperors, saints, and rituals older than the empire that now ruled them. By the late 15th century, the Ottomans had refined a quieter method: conversion where possible, relocation where useful, erasure where resistance persisted. The convent of St. Catherine, isolated in the hills of Thessaly, far from garrisons or allies, was an ideal target. Inside lived women who owned no weapons. Their days were shaped by silence, fasting, and repetition. Most had never seen battle. Their faith was not loud, but it was durable. Sister Eleni had led the convent for 12 years. Before that, she had tended the sick in a village erased by plague. Sister Magdalena was 19, newly professed, her hands still marked by farm labor. Sister Theodora was 70, having outlived emperors, abbacies, and wars, believing she had already made peace with death. None of them had prepared for this. The first cannon fires just after dawn. It does not strike the chapel. It strikes the bell tower. Stone explodes. Iron screams. The bell shatters mid-swing, fragments crashing into the courtyard where herbs once grew for healing. Some of the sisters cry out. Others cover their ears. Eleni does not scream. She raises the crucifix and begins to sing. Kyrie eleison. One voice becomes many. Prayer rises through smoke and dust. By midday, the gates are breached. Ottoman soldiers enter not with drawn swords, but with ledgers, ink, and seals. They move with the calm of clerks, counting, recording, categorizing. To the empire, these women are not enemies. They are assets. A translator steps forward, a Greek man whose voice shakes as he reads the decree. Subjects of the conquered territories are offered protection through conversion. Those who refuse will face consequences. Sister Eleni steps forward calmly. Tell your sultan, she says in clear Greek, that we have already given our lives to a king. We have nothing left to surrender. Hassan Pasha, the officer in command, smiles. He does not threaten them. Threats create defiance. The empire has learned subtler methods. That night, the women are locked inside their own chapel. No food, no water, only darkness, and the sound of soldiers outside, laughing, eating, living. Two younger sisters begin to sob. Magdalena whispers a psalm, another joins her. The sobbing fades. These women have spent years fasting, keeping vigil, denying comfort. What the Ottomans intend as pressure is familiar discipline. Hassan waits. On the second day, bread and water are brought in. Clean, fresh, a silent invitation. They do not touch it. By the third day, lips crack, hands tremble. Some can barely stand, but no one breaks. Hassan enters himself. You are not criminals, he says gently. The Sultan offers mercy, new names, protection. Or he adds, they may travel to Constantinople and present their case. The road is long. The weak do not survive it. Eleni looks at her sisters. We will walk. At dawn, they are bound and led south. No carts, no animals. Only dust, sun, and stone. The road begins its work. On the second day, Sister Irene collapses. Two others lift her and carry her until nightfall. By morning, she is dead. They bury her by the roadside with bare hands. Hassan records the loss. On the fourth day, Sister Callista sits down and does not rise again. She is left behind without ceremony. By the time they reach the coast, 18 remain. Something changes during those days. The women stop crying. They stop pleading. They walk in silence, but not surrender. It is the silence of resolve. On the seventh morning, Sister Eleni is taken aside. What happens next is not recorded in Ottoman ledgers. It survives only in a Venetian merchant's letter. He describes her return at dawn, dressed in silk, paraded as a convert. Her eyes open, but empty. Her lips moving in silent Latin prayer. Her body taken, her will untouched. This was the empire's true strategy, not martyrdom. Ghosts. At the port, the women are loaded onto a galley, chained to benches, logged not by name, but by number. Religious captives, female, destination, imperial household. The voyage lasts 12 days. Storms batter the deck. Salt spray burns cracked skin. Sickness spreads. Magdalena whispers psalms at night. Other prisoners turn their heads to listen. When the ship enters the Bosphorus, Constantinople rises like a blade. Domes, minarets, endless walls. They kneel beneath the shadow of the Hagia Sophia as the call to prayer echoes. We are home, one whispers, but it is no longer ours. They are taken beneath the palace. Beneath Topkapi lies a network of forgotten corridors. Storage rooms, servant passages, dead ends sealed from memory. In one hidden chamber, the women are housed. By day, they work in silence. By night, they gather. They have no priest, no altar, no scripture, only memory. They whisper psalms half remembered, share fragments of hymns, use stolen bread and water for communion. With fingernails and broken pottery, they carve crosses into stone. Years later, restorers would break through a false wall. They would find the room, dozens of crude crosses, Latin words scratched faintly into stone, lux in tenebris lucet. The light shines in the darkness. They would find candle wax mixed with herbs once used in convents. Evidence of vigils lasting months, perhaps years. In the corner, a bird scratched into stone. Beside it, 23 lines. Only 11 complete, the rest trailing into nothing. Ottoman records from 1482 mention a cleansing of palace staff. No names, one word, disposed. The women vanish from history, but the room remains. Empires measure victory in land and centuries. The Ottoman Empire lasted 600 years. It ruled continents. It reshaped the world. Yet all that survives of these women are scratches in stone. Not names and not bodies, but proof. Proof that identity can survive conquest, that memory can outlast power, that even when everything is taken, something endures. The bell never rang again in Thessaly, but the light they carved into darkness still speaks.